friends, and welcome to the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, also known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I may be an old dog, but I'm always trying to learn new tricks. In each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. As a good friend likes to say, we're better together. So I hope this podcast will help school librarians connect with and learn from each other. The opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. And because school librarians always strive to be good digital citizens, I cite sources when using material that is not my own. Without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, we're back, and I am so excited. I get to talk to my friend Katie all the way across the country. This is so great. We don't usually get a chance to catch up enough, so I'm so excited. Katie, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you take a second, tell everybody who you are, where you are.
Well, I am Katie McNamara. I am a high school teacher librarian, and I am the program director for the teacher librarian credential for Fresno Pacific University. So I'm empowering all kinds of people from Central California.
Love it. That's awesome. So how did you end up in school librarianship in the first place?
Interesting. You should ask that. It was a very dark moment. I was at a school with very toxic admin. It was at the point where we were promised every year, this is the last year, they're going to be replaced, blah, blah, blah. By year 4, I had given up hope, and I put in for every job I felt remotely qualified for. Bunch of English jobs and a teacher librarian. And I had all my interviews lined up, blah, blah, blah. My first interview happened to be for the teacher librarian position. And on the drive home, I was offered the job.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I get home and I share this with my husband. And he's like, well, you took it, right? I'm like, no, I didn't. I have all these other interviews. I'm going to select which one I want. And then, bless his heart, in all the ways, he's like, well, what if no one else offers you a job? So I took it. And it's been the greatest choice forever. I guess I was always meant to be in this gig because I've always done professional development. I've been teaching 28 years. And from my second year of teaching, I started providing professional development and doing various model lesson activities. And so I get all that and still the students. It's like the cake with a cherry on top and whatever else makes it super awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, same. And it's funny because it seems like when I talk to school librarians about how they got here, it almost always is not a direct line from I knew I wanted to do this since I was a child. And it almost always includes I was involved in leading PD, or I was involved in leading technology, or I was involved in there's always this leadership component, I feel like, that comes into folks who end up in the school library. And I love it because leading from the library, I mean, that's what we do.
Well, and sadly in California, all of our schools don't have a credentialed librarian, even though there's a bunch of recommendation, yada, yada. So who's going to go to school and drop 20 grand on an additional degree just in the hopes of getting a job? So
yeah. No, I hear that. We got some of that sometimes going around too down here, but we'll leave the policy for another day. But
because we got some fun stuff to talk about.
We do, and I'm very excited to hear about this. So you're going to tell us about a lesson called Game of Quotes, and I'm very interested in hearing sort of how this came. Let's start with, where did this come from? What was your inspiration for where this started?
Okay, so the inspiration really is, I don't know, how bad of a word can I say? We'll go with crappy, but you can fill in the blanks. Crappy Wi-Fi was my inspiration. I'm so sick of we were pivoting every day with our lessons, and it was a week and a half of internet going down. I'm done with this. I'm not going to do any more pivoting. I'm going to do something that's engaging, getting the kids into books, helping them with finding their evidence, getting some research skills, some team building, some collaborative work. What in the world can I do? Oh, okay. I'll modify this idea, Game of Quotes, from Heather Marshall, and do this team style library-esque thing with it. And it's been like wonderful. The kids ask for it, the teachers ask for it.
Nice. Wow. That's when you know you hit a home run, when they're asking you
Right?
for the lesson.
Well, my secret evil plan is for the students to always be asking their classroom teacher, hey, so when are we going to the library next?
Right. Got to build in that job security. I love it. So, is this a lesson that is like a whole class lesson? Is this small group? Like, how does this sort of unfold?
So what I love about this is it can be adopted to fit a variety of needs, even if the classroom teacher wanted to utilize it as a bell ringer concept. But I went ahead and did this to be like kind of a period. Of course, time for like taking care of those book needs,
Hmm.
but embracing like the whole period so we can get through 4 rounds because that gamification aspect and points and all of that jazz.
Love it. I love the idea of anytime we can gamify, the kids really just seem to
Right.
dive in because, oh, I got to prove that I'm better than everybody else. So,
And they went to, and like, I've never had a fight in my classroom, but because of Game of Quotes, I almost had a fight because they were fighting over who really should have won the round because my evidence was better. And you know what? It was the greatest moment. Like, do I yell at them to like stop? Luckily, it didn't come to blows, but they were very impassioned.
that's outstanding. Man. So, you can kind of run this in different configurations, lengths. As a student, I come in, what am I going to see? How's it going to sort of unfold?
Okay, so as you come in, I've got a rolling whiteboard that I go ahead and already have set up for recording our points. The tables for management, I don't go beyond 5 groups. It really, I don't care how big the class is. 5 group max, 4 group even better. And then there's more books on each table than there would be students.
Okay.
So like if I've got 5 people at a group, I'm going to have 7, 8 books. They can use their own book that they're already reading. They can pick one of those. So everyone has a book in hand. But so when they walk in, that's what they're going to see is a bunch of books on the table and my game board. I'm like, what are we doing? And I don't really totally tell them everything. It's just kind of like unfolds as we progress.
I think that's important in some lessons to kind of give them that little bit of a hook them a little bit and then reel them in.
Right. And it's really cool because they start digging into the books before I even say anything. They're like, oh, we're going to do something with these. So they've learned how to check out the blurbs and figure out different things.
That's great. Right now I don't have my students doing that. So that's something that I would love to encourage in them, that they're going to come in and actually start digging into what's on the table in front of them and just instead of just kind of staring at it. So
Yeah. So I have, okay, since we went on this little side trip, I have a lot of work that I've been doing and I just call it joy of reading.
love
So
it.
I'm trying to find the little sheet real quick. Oh, well. It's a little sheet, so half piece of paper, which makes everyone feel more warm and fuzzy because it doesn't have a lot of lines on it.
Hmm.
So I'll have my small groups and still like 4 books at a table or whatever and give them 90 seconds. They're in a book. They read the cover because they are visually reading. They
Hmm.
read the blurb. They open random, read a page. And then there's always someone like, oh, I already read the page. Like, you read 2 pages. Like, all at the same time, you are in that one book. At the end of 90 seconds, the books rotate and we repeat the process. Rotate and rotate. So 90 seconds goes pretty fast. They went into 4 books and this little half-page joy of reading. They're going to prioritize the books they looked at. What was their top favorite and what was their second favorite? So they have to record the title, the author, and then 2 reasons why they liked it.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Real quick, like a
Real
speed
quick.
dating kind of situation,
Yeah.
sort of.
So another twist on that, or sorry, we're like getting all kinds of extra bonus points in here. I'm doing a big graphic novel unit with another teacher. So I tweaked
Love
this.
that.
We used graphic novels, and then the why I like it had to incorporate graphic novel terms.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So did you have like a list of graphic novel terms, or they were bringing that as preloaded knowledge because they were in the lesson already?
So we had already been working on that. I've got graphic novel terms. We've already done the edgy protocol, the fast and the curious, going through quizzes, doing index cards where you make your own manipulatives and teamwork. They're building them, matching them together. We've done also where they just open the graphic novel, like, okay, show me a splash, show me a bleed, put your finger in the
Nice.
gutter, which then there's someone that goes, hee, 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 hee. And I'm one of those people. Yeah. So they've had already like 5 exposures of understanding the term. So then when we get to this, they can like really focus on that reflective concept.
I love that. And maybe, man, now I'm already starting to spin that in different directions. Like you could also have a real fun time with that. Like if you talked about what was your favorite art, like maybe not what was your favorite story, but like what was something about one of the art pieces that really grabbed you, that pulled you in?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry. This is, like you said, awesome bonus content. But let's come back around. So we were talking about the kids are coming in. They're going to see your board. They're going to see tables. They're going to see books on the tables, and they know they're going to want to flip through those books. So where are they going to go next?
Okay, so you've got to like get that timer going, or the time will just escape you. Or like I have ADHD, so like I don't do time management well. Like, oh, you have 3 minutes, and I am bored. It's like, oh, I only gave them 1 minute. They didn't do half of what I want. I'm like, what? What's your problem? Oh, it's me. Hi, you're the problem. So I use my phone to set the timer. So 3 minutes, and I'm a big fan of the ish. So 3-ish minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you all know, like no 2 classes are exactly the same. If they start getting unruly or whatever, then maybe it's magically 2 minutes. But 3 minutes, they're just in their books, and then I have cards. All these magical cards. Sorry, folks at home, you can't see them, haha. But then I'll go to a group. So they're in groups, and I let one of them pull the card. So then it's student choice too. If they don't like the topic, oh, well, I didn't pick it. They did. Ooh, the one I just pulled. You ready for this?
Bring it.
What you do not want to hear in the morning.
Ooh.
So now they're going to go back to the book, the pages they just read, and find a sentence that would be the best response to what you do not want to hear in the morning.
Oh,
okay.
Fun.
So
okay.
90-ish seconds for them to find that. And then I've learned, because, when you do something with teenagers, they really let you know quickly what you should or should not do. So like None of the Above is a fabulous book, but not one for this, because there's a lot of things I don't want to hear out loud in that book. I don't find those sentences, so I don't use that one anymore. Although it's a fabulous intersex book. And then the students also have a piece of paper to record their sentence.
Okay.
And then helping with other standards that are coming up. I'm really big fan of clustering the standards. So they write their quote, they use the quotation marks, they use the parenthetical citation, blah, blah, blah. And if I'm not ready for that, like sentence on the page it came from, we'll get at least that done. Okay, so 90 seconds, they find their sentence, they write on a piece of paper, then another 90-ish seconds, they talk in their team, and then collectively as a team, they decide which response is the best.
Okay, so now we've got individual work, but we've now brought in the group element, the team element, as we talk through, here's what I came up with, who thinks they can top it.
Yes.
Okay.
And usually there's other interlopers in our space. So I will find 1 or 2 people like, hey, do you want to be a guest judge? Because I'm not supposed to be bad cop, like ever, with what I do. So I get these 2 people, whether they're students or faculty that's in here, someone walking by, hey, like don't like literally grab them because there's laws against that, but grab someone, hey, do you want to do this? And with other faculty, okay, here's the bonus. Like I grabbed a social studies teacher to do it. Well, that's leading to a conversation. Oh, how could we do this with my content?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. So it's not an accident when I grab these judges. Okay. So then I got my guest judges, and one at a time, each group shares their favorite quote. Okay. And then that guest judge has to determine, I used to only do first place, but then I like giving out points to as many as possible. So now I give points to second and first place.
Okay.
So they're on the leaderboard, and they get, second place gets 1 point, first place gets 2 points, or if you want to give them to all, you can. And there has been times, because I'm in charge, I can like tweak these rules however I want. There was one time, it was magical, Steve. We had a 4-way tie for first place.
Wow. But that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in charge, so I can kind of do that in my space. Record the points, and then we repeat. And so now they get back to the book, they're reading more of that particular book. And then again, you got the cards, go to a next table, and then they pull a card and just repeat. Okay.
So it's the person who pulls the card the first time. That one card is for all the teams to work with.
Yes.
For this. Okay. So they're all working the same problem. Great. Okay. Yes. That totally makes sense. And then when they go back into the books for the second round, third round, fourth round, are they supposed to pick up where they were reading before, or should they jump around? Like, do you think it makes a difference? Does it sort of make sense to have them jump, or I don't know?
So if it's the book they're already reading, it makes more sense for them to continue where they're at. But if they've
Sure.
come in and they're really only going to read the book for, even though it's okay, let's do some simple math here.
Mhm.
If it's 4 rounds and I give them 3 minutes a round, that would be 12 minutes, provided all the teenagers actually did what I told them to do.
Right, which we know won't happen. So
Maybe 8-ish minutes
right.
of reading happens, and everyone reads at a different speed. So maybe that's like 4-ish pages. So and if the book is new to them, like read wherever you want, open it to the middle, whatever they're reading, that's what I care about.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I can see where like the reader who happens to come in at a really interesting point is going to want to continue from that point.
Right.
Maybe even, I don't want to jump ahead, but does this convert into like some checkouts that kids end up wanting to take some of these books?
Of course.
Oh, of course.
It's so precious. They're like, well, I really like this book. And I'm not trying to make fun of them. That's how they talk to me. Same thing about like a display just got, well, can I? Yes, please. And we've all had those moments. They ask about the books on the display. Please. That's the point.
It's why they're there.
and I do, again, like not making fun of the darlings. I love how respectful they are.
Mhm.
But yes, definitely you can check out this book. And it's fabulous. And then it's extra work on me sometimes, so I'll make sure I have additional books already prepared to put on the table because I'm selective as well of what books I put out on the tables.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. You definitely want to think a little bit ahead about what you're asking them to say out loud, like you were saying before.
Right. Yeah, and like similarly, like you had already mentioned speed dating, and I do a combination of like speed dating and book tasting is how I happen to run it. But if you're in a secondary environment and you've got like all these classes popping, you've got to have books that they're ready to magically be there for the next period. So same thing here. You want to have a stash ready to go. That sounds bad. Yes, I do have a stash. And yes, I will share. Okay.
Totally makes sense though. Totally makes sense when you've got kids and you don't know what's going to happen next. So always good to have something extra in the back pocket just in case. Okay.
Totally.
So we get a couple of rounds. We've got guest judges coming in and saying, here's who I think answered that prompt the best. How does this sort of wrap up once we've gone through a couple of rounds?
So we go 4 rounds.
Okay.
I like going 4 rounds. And then at the end, like I've got a goodie bag.
Ooh.
And I'll have stickers. So
nice.
I got some fun like bookie stickers. I have those neat sensory stickers. I love these like rainbow stickers that have the like, that stuff that you just rub your finger on it. It's like really cool. This year I also grabbed fidget rings.
Oh.
And I got inspirational like magnet bookmarks. The magnet bookmarks were not that wasn't the thing they wanted. Oh, what I don't have, are they called squishies? There's these little things that you can just like squish. They feel like nasty on your fingers, but the kids love them. They come in like dinosaurs and kitty cats.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So little things that aren't going to break the bank. Even like, okay, I even get candy that other teachers give me sometimes. I'm like, oh, I don't care about that. I'll put that in the bucket. It's a nice little piece of candy is what they want. But like that winning team got a little something. And they feel so good.
Well, anytime you get to rub your classmate's face and your ability to outpace them.
And then when you have something like, here's my evidence that I won.
Love it. So they're coming away with gifts, but they're also coming away with the knowledge of here's how we're going to cite sources when we're doing citation stuff.
So that's the big bonus. And then I don't tell them this. Like they're finding evidence. They're spending time selecting critical evidence. Now, critical, I'm taking liberties with that term right now. But like really it is. It's like, here's a claim. Dig into the book, find a piece of evidence that really, really helps support it.
Yeah.
So they're doing that high level thinking of determine when you prioritize and pick which is the best, that evaluative state, that's the highest level of the thinking pyramid.
Absolutely. That's, I am definitely going to have to steal this and share it with my ELA teachers because they are having a dickens of a time trying to get, especially our 7th graders, to find evidence that makes sense with the claims that they're making. This might be the way to kind of shine a little light on that because when they're pulling out, something you don't want to hear when you get up in the morning. That's absolutely like, there's things that are going to fit and there's things that are not going to fit. And I think that they're going to be able to see the difference between that pretty clearly.
Okay, they start to see the connection. Then I'll have the
Yeah.
classroom teachers do it more clearly. Okay, so just like when you pulled evidence in that game, what? It was just a game. No, carefully.
We tricked you. That's awesome. Oh man, anytime we can trick the kids into learning something, you gotta love it.
That's what I do almost every day.
So were there any, you had mentioned that you got this lesson, you mentioned somebody's name earlier about with it in connection with this. Who, but I missed it. I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. Her name is Heather Marshall and librarian, but like even before that, I'm really big proponent about giving credit. And so I think if you dig into it, like once upon a time, there was a game that was actually like produced that was real similar to this thing. You could buy it. I don't know that you can still buy it, but she's done some work and she has some different nuances that she's done on her blog. But me tweaking it for the setting of the library and that team style.
Yeah, I like that. Anytime we can get the kids engaged with each other, I think that's one of the best learning opportunities we can give them because they learn so much from each other and they're more willing to listen to their peers than their teachers. So why not take advantage?
And then they're listening too. So there are listening skills in all of our standards. And you talked about checking out books. So maybe I'm not reading the book, but I hear a sentence from this book like, I don't know what's going on there, but I know I want to read it.
Yeah, so absolutely. Great way to pull them in. So how long have you been doing this lesson?
So that huge internet fiasco was last year.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I was assuming like that must have been back in the dark ages, but okay.
No, it was just last year.
Okay.
And the teachers ask for it so much so they'll even ask me to like tie it into their curriculum. So I was recently asked about Romeo and Juliet. So I created questions that connected with that. So now keep in mind though, when I'm connecting it to a text, it's not find evidence like the friar is culpable. Like, no, because we're not using Romeo and Juliet. So going out bigger, like theme thinking.
Okay.
And so it could still be applied to any book, like it's just a big misunderstanding. That's a thing that happens in Romeo and Juliet, but I can have that be one of my cards in their personal reading that they can use to answer that. And then it helps too with those other standards that where you're supposed to find common themes in a variety of media.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now, well, and if you're doing a variety of media, you could maybe even bring in like maybe short video clips or like lots of different things.
Totally.
Oh man, I love. That's one of the things I love about doing this podcast is I get all these amazing folks telling me these great ideas, and my brain just starts like, there's so many things you could do this. Oh, it's so awesome. So, are there any changes that you've had to make since you first started? Like, or were there any things that you kind of went, oh, you know what? This is going to be better that way next time.
So sometimes it's my questions that I pull out. Like, oh wait, their answers I don't really like. Or like this, the new TikTok trend. I thought that card was going to go really well and it didn't. So it doesn't take long to like figure out what's falling flat with them. Yeah. So that's a thing to just be mindful about, like the engagement level with as they're finding their evidence for whatever statement is that you gave them.
Okay, that totally makes sense. How about are there ways that you might differentiate this for either different levels of learners or for like if you've got a mixed class or ELL learners? Like, is there anything that you kind of could tweak or that you have played with to kind of help everybody engage?
I am at high school, so that's 9th through 12th grade. Yep. And sadly, fortunately, with my situation, like our society reads at a low level. Like newspapers are written 6th and 8th grade level. Young adult literature is written mostly 4th to 6th grade level. So I've already got like some differentiation there. Like nothing's 9th grade level.
Right. That's true.
So I have that going as well. And now I can go ahead and add some more, like you mentioned, EL. I can bring in my Spanish novels or like another language. Like it's not about like, are you reading English? It's are you reading and finding the evidence?
Right.
So when you step back and think about what's my goal, like the minutia of it, like just trying to like be in control and have this extra compliance, we can let that go.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that. Okay. So you already said that the kids have asked for this, the teachers have asked for this, so
Mm-hmm.
clearly very popular. I was going to ask, like, how do you think it's working? But clearly it's working. Like, clearly this is coming over. And do the teachers find? I mean, I think I'm answering my own question, but the teachers find that this is effective for the kids' learning. It must be that the teachers are asking you to, hey, keep doing this, keep developing this, add it to this subject area that we don't already have it in. Clearly, the kids are transferring the skills from game to academics.
Right. And so because just the nature of the game, like you could do it every day and it would be different.
That's true. Yeah, because you're going to get different. You might have different books, but even if you have the same books, you could tell the kids pick different pages.
Yeah, you're a different point of the book. The cards you draw would be different.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. If someone was going to do this for the very first time, any advice that they should kind of have in mind as they get ready to step into it?
Well, advice, I would definitely click the show notes so that you have the list of possible prompts you can use. And if you don't like them, don't tell me. That's okay. Just don't use the ones you don't like. If there's something that's really popular with your kids, something that's trendy, make a question that connects to that.
Yes. Let them know that we're aware, that we're paying attention, that they are
Right.
part of the learning process too. Yes, absolutely. Love it. And I mean, you already gave lots of great ideas too, like making sure you got the extra materials or extra books on hand, making sure you've maybe got some extra prompt cards in case something doesn't quite land the way you want it to. That's all right.
So let me blow your mind a little bit.
Please.
You could do this with the text being their textbooks.
Oh, interesting.
You'd want to adapt the cards a bit, but you could still like create the cards with the knowledge that you're using the science textbook or this history textbook.
Yeah. Huh. And that'd be a great opportunity to collaborate too.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got another brain idea.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm thinking like when I'm working like with history and we're doing jigsaw, and, everyone's reading a different article about the same topic.
Yes.
That could be cool too.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. So many things. So many great things. Man, I love this lesson. There's so many awesome things going on here. All right. We are going to now go in a completely different direction. It is time for the book break. Book break.
Okay, can I be that person that says, but wait, there's more?
Oh, you absolutely can be the person that says, well, wait, there's more. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. It's okay. I like sharing this piece too because, they come to the library. I've modeled it for the teachers. The kids have the gist of it. They get excited about it. In the classroom, I have some teachers that go ahead and use this as their bell ringer activity. Mm-hmm. So if you do it that way, it's one round. So maybe you keep points throughout and add them up on a Friday, but it's like we're going to do one round, a single card, and that's our beginning reading bit.
Mm-hmm. That's a great one too. Like as a way to bridge that gap between the library and the classroom. Here's this activity that we did in the library. We're going to carry it over now. Build those bridges, tie those ties, get the kids associating everything with the library. I love it. That's great. I really appreciate you throwing that in. Anything else before we dive into our book break?
Just anytime you can celebrate reading and celebrate the kids, it's a win. And you totally get to do that with this activity.
Oh, I totally agree. Having fun, learning something sneakily. What's not to love? What's not to love? So now we're going to take a 90-degree turn and go into our book break. Book break. So any kind of book you want to share with us, it could be personal, professional, it could be student, staff, or yourself, whatever, just for fun. What do you want to share?
So I really want to highlight Your Lonely Nights Are Over by Adam Sass.
Okay.
So it's an amazing book. There's a copycat serial killer, and the kids of the queer club are being targeted.
Ooh.
So I love this for so many reasons. I like the stabby kill books, but so do most of my kids. But we've had this progression in LGBTQ plus literature. Mm-hmm. So there was that time where, here's my 10 books that happen to have a character. Pick one, and then we had this like slow progression to like realistic fiction, and a lot of those were coming out stories, and hit and miss there with how publishers allowed them to develop that. Then we went into the romance and fantasy, and it's been a slow burn in a bad way, not the good slow burn way, like decades to get to this point. Well, and now we finally have queer horror. And so I love that. But what I also love about this book is Adam Sass was very, very intentional of showing what a good queer looks like, as well as what a bad queer looks like. And the bigger thing in the end is in this one, the queers save themselves.
Nice.
Yeah.
The fact that it's taken us this long to get to the point where
Right.
book that
That's not a
we've got,
problem.
we've got dozens of these books with straight characters, and now we're finally getting to the point where we can also have them with gay characters. Go figure. It's a brand new world.
Well, and then like genius to have the queer club be that target, because then that allowed him to explore all these different types of LGBTQIA plus people.
I like that. I love the title too. The title sounds like it's going to be this fun romance, and instead it's a murder stabby book.
Okay, so my book got flagged actually, and I'm still working on that, but I think that's what got it flagged to begin with. Like, what's the smut she's getting for the library? No, that's not what's going on.
You really are missing the point on this one. Let me walk you through this one.
Like, who here has the credential that says they can select the books? But okay.
Yeah. That we could spend 3 hours talking about that.
That's just not,
That's definitely going on my short list for TBR. Wow, that sounds great.
Well, and if that's what you want, I think there's like 3 or 4 now in existence. So another one, can I do a twofer?
Sure.
You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight.
I feel like I've heard this title before fairly recently too. But I can't think of where it was.
Yeah, by Kalynn. Bayron, I think that's how you say it. Bayron, Bayron. So it takes place at a camp, but it's a simulation activity. So it's like a slasher horror concept going on where like people die throughout the night, and there's one final victor, and hoorah, they get a shirt. But they sign this big waiver, like that they're allowed to be like touched or restrained by the person, blah 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 blah. So like they know what they're getting into. But they don't know there's also like real killing happening.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be not something that would be advertised usually. But
yeah, well, and like the people in charge of the activity, which are teenagers, because the guy in charge is like just a money maker. Bleep 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 bleep. No idea what's going on. They just feel like, hey, this other kid didn't show up to do their job, and now I have to take up their slack. What? Not like, oh, maybe something happened. Like, where? They're sleeping somewhere. What?
Sounds very much, it's funny. I just heard a podcast about the original Friday the 13th. And like, there are people that just were disappearing as the movie is unwinding. And the teen counselors are just like, I don't know, whatever. And not realizing that, there's murder out there. So like, I love the evolution of that into into a more modern setting. That's great.
Yeah, and there's some Friday the 13th throwbacks too if you're a horror fan yourself.
Nice. Yeah. Love it. Awesome. 2 for 1. Gotta love it. Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing books. Thank you for sharing this awesome lesson that's got my brain just all lit up. I cannot wait to bring this back to my school. This is so great. If people want to track you down online, where should they go looking? Where are they going to find you?
So my handle is at Katie J. McNamara. I'm on more socials than I probably should be. The platform formerly known as Twitter and Blue Sky are where I most frequent.
Woohoo! Yeah. Go Blue Sky.
And Blue Sky is open for everyone now, so that evolution was slow burn too.
Yes.
I finally were there.
Very excited about that. Yeah. And they're adding so many new features now that there's new users. So great. It's really coming along. Awesome. I know people are going to want to hear more because you've got so many great things always going on. I love it. I'm so excited we got to talk. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes, which include not only a link to the lesson, but also links to the SLLN website, home to a curated list of free upcoming virtual events and resources for school librarians. It's easy to become a member of the network. Just visit the site and use what you like. If you have an idea, a question, or a lesson you want to share, you can email schoolliblearning@gmail.com. That's school, L-I-B, learning@gmail.com. Know someone with a great school library lesson? Let us know. Until next time, be safe, be good, and be well.